Hello, thank you, Ray. Hello, Lake Central. Great to be here. It's last time I was on the stage was 18 years ago. I was with my band and we were performing in the high school talent show. So we got a band together, a bunch of guys who thought they could play guitar, and we performed a song specifically for the talent show, and it was great because everybody was rocking out. I felt like a rock star. My girlfriend at the time was in the audience. She was like, "Ooh, that's my boyfriend." And then my brother was here, and all my friends were here to listen to us, and it was awesome. Everybody's like cheering, applauding, everybody had a great time. So a couple days later, my brother who was there, he said, "I found a VHS tape. Somebody recorded your show, Sean. Let's watch it again." I'm like, "Cool, I was a rock star, let's see it all over again." It was awful. I was the worst singer you could possibly imagine. Imagine like a dog howling for like 3 minutes straight while people tried to strum guitar to it. So eventually we turned off the tape and my brother looked at me, he's like, "You sound better live." So it's great to be back, totally redeemed myself, you know, since that was such a poor performance on the stage. I hope I can do better this time. So thank you, Ray, for introducing me. My name's Sean Kennedy. I went to Lake Central, graduated in '95. So that was 18 years ago, and it's great to be back at Lake Central University. I mean, Lake Central High School. This place is ginormous. What have you guys done to the place? It's like a high school on steroids. It's crazy. But it's cool. It's great to be back, and I have some friends here. My uncle, my Aunt Rose Kennedy, who teaches here. My cousin, Kelly Joy. Where's she at? She's all embarrassed now. Hello. So I just want to take a little minute to talk to you about how I went from Lake Central in 1995 to this thing right here, this Emmy trophy, which is pretty crazy. I'm still pinching myself. It's still new. It doesn't even have my name on it. They email you this band that has your name engraved on it. So that's how new this Emmy is. And it's still pretty cool. So I'm just happy to be here to share it with you. So I work in television. I'm a producer. And a producer essentially is like, my uncle described it really well. He's the orchestrator. The producer gets all the instruments together, gets all the performers, and he kind of conducts the show. And so that's what I do. I hire all the crew, and I make sure everybody's there at the same time, and we're talking to the right people. And once you get that together, you hire an editor, and you edit all the pieces together, and then you deliver it. And my videos specifically go on the web. They go on history.com. So if you want to learn more, that was just one video in a series about 9/11. So if you want to see more, just go to history.com/remembering 9/11. You can see them all. So I actually got my start in television right here at Lake Central High School. Mr. Osana's junior year, my junior year, he put out a assignment. You can make anything you wanted. Most people were doing like the big cardboard, like with their name on it, and they write in a picture and stuff like that. Like, no, I want to do a video. I've never done a video before in my life. I don't know what I was doing, but I said I wanted to do it. So I set out to make a music video, because that's easy. You just film a bunch of stuff and you put a music under it. So I did it. I got 2 VCRs. You guys even know what a VCR is? So you hit play on one VCR and you hit record, and you keep doing that until you have the thing compiled into the video that you want. So I got the tape, I put it in the VCR, I hit play, and I just sat back and I watched all my friends, all my fellow students watch it. And they were laughing in all the wrong places. It was supposed to be serious, but I didn't care because they absolutely loved it. Now, for real, they actually liked it. And so much that the poor Jill Craven, who had to go after me, she hated me. She's like, "I gotta follow that." So that was my first experience making a video, and you would think that was it. I knew I was set. I'm gonna make a career in television. I'm gonna be done. But that wasn't the case at all. I was really excited about science. And so I pursued, after Lake Central, I graduated in '95, I went to Florida State University down in Tallahassee, Florida. Has anybody ever heard of that? Thank you. Ranked number 2 in the country, we're hoping to be national champions. So, it was a big football school, and it was great because I went there freshman year. I'm going to be a genetic counselor. And genetic counseling is all about DNA and like helping people out who have cystic fibrosis or any kind of genetic disorder in their family. You can check out what their DNA makeup is, give them a little help on this might be happening to you down the road. So unfortunately with the science also comes the math. And once I hit Calc 1, I hit a roadblock. And I was like, wait, you mean there's a Calc 2? So that was it for me in science. I had to find another avenue to go down. And luckily on campus, there was this flyer that said, join the Florida State television channel. It was just a not public, but campus-wide TV station. And it's like a flyer that said you can make your own show. I'm like, this is great. I made videos back in high school. I think I made the one, that worked out all right. So maybe I'll just go make some more videos. And so luckily my brother followed me from Lake Central to Florida State, and we made the dumbest videos you've ever seen. It's like I dressed him up as a woman, and I dressed him up as like a pickpocket, and I had my other cousin beat him up, and all these videos got put together into a TV show that went across the campus. And it was weird because at the end of the show, they would do a little call-in, and people would be like, hey, you suck, or hey, that was great, or it was basically you just got feedback right instantly. And so as soon as the show was over, people would call in and say, we want to see that show again. So I was like, all right, now this is it. That was a blast, making that with my friends and making videos and putting it out for a lot of people to see. I'm not doing so well in the Calc 1, so how about I go over and try to do television? And that's what I did. I put all my focus and energy into becoming a TV producer, which essentially, like I described before, someone who puts together all the pieces to make a TV show. And so I changed majors from genetic counseling to communications with a minor in English. If I could do that over again, I'd flop them, because your communications, you can pretty much do that on your own. But English, that really forces you to write and read, and that's where the essence of producing is telling a story. And you just want to try to get as much practice as that as possible so you can get better at it. And that's what I tried to do. And eventually, in college, I was working at a library. And I'm like, why am I working in a library if I don't want to work in television? So I went to a local TV station. I said, I want to work on television. I'll do anything. What can I do? I'll answer phones. And they said, well, we need somebody to answer phones 3 days a week. And there I was. Hello, this is Sean Kennedy. You've called the Florida Channel. How can I help you? Well, the good thing about that was when there was an opening for a real producer job, I was the first one to hear about it. So a producer job opened up, and it was an AP job, and they said, you want to give it a try? And before you know it, they're giving me a story, and I'm writing it, and I got the job. All of a sudden, I'm an associate producer at the Florida Channel, and I'm in my junior year of college, and I'm working on videos that are going across the state of Florida. And it was great. It was exactly what I wanted. It was exactly what I needed. So I had my foot in the door, I was working in television, and I was still going to school. So I was trying to do both. Eventually, I made my way up to anchor. I was like the guy that you see and like, hello, for Capital Update, I'm Sean Kennedy. And I did that a bunch, and I got enough experience to where my resume looked pretty good. Because that's all a resume is. It's just a list of everything you've done, all the experience that you've accumulated, all on one sheet of paper. And so when it came time to graduate, I knew I needed an internship. In fact, I had to have an internship. Part of the communications department says you need like 3 credits to come from your internship. So I set it up to where I would go do my internship, but I would walk early. So I went and graduated, but before that I made sure I sent out resume letters to every television station I could think of. I went to like Jim Henson, I went to Fox, ABC, NBC, CBS, everybody who would take a resume letter for an internship that I needed to graduate, I sent one out to. 25 in all. Do you know how many people responded? One person responded, and it was MTV Networks. And I was like, jackpot, I'm gonna go work at MTV. Crazy, they called me, and they said, we'd like you to come up to New York for an interview. I'm like, this is awesome, I'm going to New York, I'm going for an internship interview at MTV. Well, what they didn't say is it's MTV Networks, and that's like an umbrella. And underneath that umbrella is MTV, VH1, all these other networks, but it also included Nickelodeon. So when the woman, the HR woman said, okay, where would you like to intern at? I'm like, really? It's not even an interview, it's a choice? So I guess my resume was good enough that she just laid it out for me and said, pick your internship. And so the one I picked was Nickelodeon. I wanted to go work there. And I ended up working for the head of film and television. Now this was in the year 2000, because it took me 5 years to graduate since I changed majors, which is okay. A lot of people go to school for 5 years. Unfortunately, they're called doctors. But so I went to school for television. I came out with an internship at Nickelodeon, and I was working for the head of film and TV as their intern. I was just like doing anything, like making tapes, copying scripts. And this one script I got was called Sponge Boy. I'm like, what's that? That sounds crazy. And it turned out it wasn't Sponge Boy at all. They changed the name to SpongeBob SquarePants. So it was like, wow, this is cool. This is like one of the biggest TV shows, and I'm I'm copying the scripts. This is pretty cool. So eventually, I worked my way through the internship, and like I said, I graduated early. At least I walked, so it looked like I graduated. But I needed those internship credits to graduate. So I set it up to when my internship was over and I got those credits, I was officially graduated. And then I turned to all my people at Nickelodeon who were in New York and I said, thanks for the credits, I just graduated, can I get a job? And they said, no. But the good thing is, I met so many people that they said, well, now that we know you need a job, let me hook you up. I got friends who need people like you. You worked hard, you know, you're here on time every time, and you did everything we asked of you. So we know people that need people like you. So eventually, I worked in New York on film sets, and I was like the location assistant, which is basically you show up first, you set up all the food and make sure everybody's where they need to be, and then when everybody leaves, you make sure it's all cleaned up. It's the worst job ever. Don't ever be a location department assistant. You're the first one on the set, and you're the last one to leave. So after I did my first like 18-hour day, and I slept through the next day, I said, I can't handle this. This is crazy. So I went back to my friends at Nickelodeon. By that time, a job had opened up. So finally, I was working in television. I was working at Nickelodeon, and it was an absolute blast. But that didn't last because I was a department assistant. Basically, I just called up and arranged cars, and I answered the phones for the executive. And one time, he came home from a late flight from California, and I didn't arrange for his car to be there. That was a huge mistake. Because he got to the airport and there was no car to pick him up. And he's like, you know what, Sean, this assistant thing isn't working out, but I know you've been making some videos for the executive, because that's what I love doing. So he's like, okay, the assistant thing isn't working out, but you're really good at production, you're really good at making videos, I'm gonna move you over there. He really could have fired me and just said, you left me at the airport, how dare you? But instead he said, I'm gonna hook you up. And he hooked me up with a job, and that's why I started working in production, working in television. And eventually those guys who ran Nickelodeon, they turned into a little network called Spike TV. You guys ever heard of Spike TV? It was started out as the Nashville network, and then it became the National network, and then it turned into Spike TV. Now that's all it was. So I worked at Spike TV for a little bit, and then eventually I wanted to leave there because I was tired of I wanted to develop stuff. I had ideas that I wanted to make. So I went to A&E Networks. And at A&E Networks, it's great because, like I said, it's an umbrella. You know, networks means it's an umbrella underneath there. It's like bio, it's like history, it's Lifetime now, and so all those networks I got to work for. And eventually I ended up as a producer there, and I worked on a show on Saturday morning. It was like a home show, but I didn't own a home, so it wasn't that interesting to me. But then we started moving more towards web videos, and this was like 10 years ago. So now I've been working in web video specifically, and I moved into history. Now history was great because they just started off with Ice Road Truckers, and then Ice Road Truckers became Pawn Stars, and then Pawn Stars became American Pickers. And before you know it, I'm out in Vegas and I'm interviewing Rick and Chum, and I'm just hanging out with those guys, and we're just talking and we're making videos for History.com. So when people watch the on-air programming, they say, I can't get enough of that, and then they go online and watch more videos. So that was me. So if you ever go watch a video on History.com about Pawn Stars or Pickers or Counting Cars or any of those shows, that's probably me out there interviewing those guys and talking to them and making videos out of it. So while we were doing that, supporting on-air programming, I was also doing original programming. So whenever there was a topic that needed to be covered, I was usually covering it. And that's when 9/11 came about. We have the museum at 9/11, for 9/11 Memorial Museum, isn't opening until next year, 2014. So they wanted videos to kind of highlight some of these pieces that are going to the museum. And they came to us because we're history. Everybody loves the idea of having the history logo on their video because all of a sudden it makes it look better. And we actually do a really good job. So there's a bonus there. And that's when it was like, they said, we want to tell the story, we want to have our museum curators tell the story of this piece. I was like, boring. That's so boring. Who wants to hear a museum curator talk about a piece in a museum? So I thought, how about these people who found that piece that eventually made the way in the museum? And that's what we ended up going with. So if you saw Joel up there, he was a photographer. He went down to ground zero and started shooting photography, and he found this Bible that was handed to him, and he held on to it. And he realized the historical significance of it, and he eventually donated it to the Memorial Museum. And so I went and talked to him and made a video about that. So we made the video, and all this time I've been submitting my work for Emmy consideration. 4 years of submitting my work and being denied. basically not even getting a whiff of a nomination. Then all of a sudden, this 9/11 video came about, and we said, well, let's give it one more try. You know, fourth time's a charm, right? That's the saying, right? Fourth time's a charm? No. So I took it, we submitted it, and all of a sudden, one morning, I woke up in July, and there it was, nominated for Best Outstanding Short Form Special Class, Remembering 9/11. And it was like the happiest day, because not only had I been trying for 4 years and trying to submit my work, get it recognized, but it finally happened. And I was jumping up and down. I was all alone, you know, because I was in my apartment. And I just got out of the shower because it was super early because they announced it in LA. And I'm there in my towel, and I'm on FaceTime with my mom, and she's like, "You're nominated for an Emmy, that's great." She's like, "Why are you naked?" Like, "No, I got the towel on, Mom, I just got out of the shower," but I was really excited. So I eventually, that was last July, and then September came around, and wait, we got the video right? You guys want to see me win an Emmy? Yeah. All right, let's watch the video. They hand you this trophy, and all of a sudden there's this big screen in the back of the wall, and it just starts counting down, 45, 44, and I'm just like, and you can see I ran out of breath. I was like, and as soon as it hits like 15 seconds, the big beautiful black screen with white numbers on it turns red, and it starts flashing in yellow letters, wrap up, wrap up. So you can see me just go, and I'm frozen there, and I don't know what else to say, and the music's blaring in my ears, and I'm just like, thank you very much, and give me my trophy. And it was cool because Mark Cuban was on the stage there, and just before we left, he's like, congrats, man. I'm like, thanks, Mark Cuban. It's like the man, he just said congrats to me. So I was even more stoked about that. And it was cool because once you get the Emmy, you go backstage, and then there's like groups of people all huddled up, and they're all waiting to be interviewed, and they're all famous, and I'm not. So I was just sitting there watching them. And it was so cool because you'd see like, oh, there's Neil Patrick Harris, and he just ran by with his Emmy because he won an Emmy for hosting the Tony Awards. And there's Anthony Bourdain, and he won an Emmy for his show on Food Network, or whatever it is. But there's all these cool people. There's Ron Swanson, he's from Parks and Rec, you know? And then all of a sudden there's this woman coming out of nowhere, and she's got 2 bodyguards beside her, and I'm just like staring her down, and she's gorgeous. And she's just absolutely beautiful. And she's walking my way. And I don't know who she is, but she's absolutely beautiful. Who is she? And then finally she looks at me and she smiles and she goes, hi. I'm like, oh, that's the woman from How I Met Your Mother. That's Kobe Smolder. Like, this is so cool. And not only did I win an Emmy, but I totally get to sightsee all these celebrities that are backstage. So it was a bonus. It was absolutely great. And then after the Emmy, you go, and everybody who was at the ceremony, they all walk towards like a big banquet center, and there's tables laid out, there's a rock band in the middle just rocking out. It's like the Black Eyed Peas, except for like the cheaper version. You know, a bunch of people you never knew, but they're all rocking and rolling. And there's food, and there's wine, and there's drinks, and you're just like, you're on cloud 9, and I'm shaking because they hand you the envelope backstage, and it says, you know, and the Emmy goes to Remembering 9/11. So I got that in one hand, I got the Emmy in the other, and then my wife's with me, and we're trying to take pictures, and it was just absolute blast. It was probably the highlight of my career, and it's crazy because I had been trying to get this kind of recognition for 4 years, and it never happened. So it eventually did, just because, you know, you work hard enough and you believe in yourself. You know, I feel like this is Emmy worthy. I don't know, but you know, give it a shot. Why not? Throw it out there. And then finally we got recognized. And you saw the competition. Did you see that? Yes. Jerry Seinfeld? Oh, I keep waiting for him to make a bad joke about me, but you can't, you know, that'd be just me, you know. But, you know, the Jerry Seinfeld, Jay Leno, John Krasinski from The Office, Tina Fey. I felt bad about that one. I really like Tina Fey. But she's got her Emmy. She's going to be doing all right. So it was fantastic, and you know, that's how I got from making videos at Lake Central High School right here on VHS tape to making videos going across the country. My job has been fantastic. I've been able to travel the world. I've gone to Ireland, I've gone to Alaska, to Belize, all because I work in a field that allows me to do what I love to do, and I can't believe they actually pay me for it, but as long as the checks keep clearing, I'm going to keep cashing them. So I'm going to open up the questions in case any of you guys have any questions, anything that you want to know about television production, living in New York, and how do you make it from Lake Central High School to do what you love to do.